Dice Tower.
Oh, board games!
Welcome to Dice Tower Tonight, a video cast about board games and card games, and especially the people who play them. On tonight's show, we just might break into song as we discuss games either themed around or using music. Plus, Crystal has something cooking for me in the live chat. We've got some recent play sessions to talk about, and our usual shenanigans with the live audience. I'm Eric Summerer, and joining me now, the Robin Sparkles of board gaming, it's Crystal Dax.
I will take that title and own it wholeheartedly.
I knew you would, indeed.
Yep.
So,
Let's
Crystal,
go to the mall, everybody.
Oh, you bet. It is so great to see you and to hear you. You seem to be in full voice today, Crystal.
I am back with a vengeance. COVID couldn't keep me down, and I am feeling so much better. And I appreciate all the well wishes that people sent my way. I did have a rough few weeks there, but I'm doing great now. And I still, 0 out of 10, would not recommend getting COVID, but like, I'm okay now.
I don't think anyone would recommend. Yeah, no, good. It's wonderful to see you back at your full level of enthusiasm and effervescence, shall we?
Yes, and I'm excited to talk about some games today.
Yes. We should mention right at the top of the show, this is Dice Tower Tonight, part of the Dice Tower family of programs, and the Dice Tower is in the middle of its fundraising campaign on Kickstarter. They just passed, I was looking just before we hit the live button, just passed a stretch goal for a live play series of Gloomhaven, which is, I believe, going to be with Stephen Bonacore. I think Tom and Stephen are going to play their way through Gloomhaven and see how long it takes to get at each other's throats. That sounds fun.
One session, right? Like, is the answer to
Will they
that.
make it past one session? Also, they just passed the PAX Unplugged stretch goal, which means that the crew will be at PAX Unplugged, which means I might have booth duties coming up next year. It was kind of fun to be a free agent this past year at PAX Unplugged, but I'll probably have some sort of official duties coming up in a year or so. So I'm excited to have the crew there at PAX. Essen is next on the horizon. So if the stuff we produce here on the Dice Tower is always going to remain free, but if you are able to support, we've got some lovely thank you gifts up there for you. Just head to dicetowerkickstarter.com, and there's a link there to get you to the fundraising campaign. And thank you to everyone who has already been so generous with their efforts on that campaign.
Absolutely. We really appreciate the support.
So we should be talking about some games. What do you think?
Absolutely. And if you don't mind, I'll go first today.
Go for it. Plunge away.
So I, after having been sick, had my first in-person game day again. Still small, obviously. My friends and I are still being very cautious. I'm not gaming in public yet. But I had a small group of friends over for my friend's birthday, and he brought over some games that were new to me, and also I think new in general. I believe this was published in 2021. It's called Dive.
Yes.
And I had not heard of it prior to my buddy bringing it over. It is from the publisher Sit Down, which also makes Magic Maze, I think. Is that right?
I think Magic Maze is Sit Down, yes.
I believe that's correct. But I haven't played a lot of their titles. So in Dive, players are divers who are trying to get down to a specific level of the ocean. There is a shared board, and everybody starts at the top, and you are trying to wind your way all the way down to the bottom and get the farthest. Once somebody hits 23 on this track, then whoever's the farthest at the end of that round is going to win the game. The way you actually dive down through the oceans is through a blind, not bidding per se, but a blind token selection. Everybody has a set of tokens with numbers 1 through 5 on them, and they have they're double-sided. One side is just a plain white number, and then the other side has that same number and also has a shark on it. And that's important because sharks are dangerous, and you want to know where the sharks are when you're going that deep into the ocean. And when you do go into the ocean, you're actually, in this game, looking down into a stack of clear, oh gosh, the glare. Ooh,
oh boy, you can see me in that.
You can literally, okay. How do I?
It's a mirror. Oh, there we go.
A little better, a little
A
better.
little.
It's difficult to capture, I guess, on webcam. But there's a stack of these light blue acrylic tiles that all get stacked up together. And even with this crummy picture, you can kind of see that you can see stuff that's on top, but you can also see down a little bit to what's potentially coming up. So when you take your tokens, you're behind your player board, with your secret to everybody else. You're selecting which tokens go where, and basically you're trying to predict where the sharks are going to be, and you're trying to have the highest number on the places where sharks are not and where good things are. Good things are manta rays and sea turtles, and those show up on these tiles as well. And if you can correctly predict where that stuff appears, basically using your tokens, then you get to move down into the ocean based on what you found. So sea turtles will move you like 1 or 2 spaces down. Manta rays will let you catch up to the player that's ahead of you. So it's a nice little catch-up mechanism. And then the sharks, if you predict a shark correctly, you just don't get eaten by the shark. But if you ever predict one of the levels incorrectly, meaning you put a shark where there wasn't one, or you put one of the white tiles where there was a shark, then that is the last level. You don't get to go to that level or lower. It's only the tokens above that point that you get to enact. And some of the tiles actually have holes in them, so it actually looks like, but you can't see that at all.
Oh, I can kind of see it. Yeah, all right.
And there's bubbles when you put them all together. It looks like bubbles in the ocean. It looks really neat. It's hard to tell. I know you can't see with the glare of my computer screen.
Just a mirrored panel.
Yeah, I promise you, I'm not doing the beauty of the tiles justice here on the webcam, but needless to say, it was really fun for us all to be like, oh yeah, there's a shark on the second level. One level down, definitely a shark. And then we pull off the top tile and we pull off the second tile and we're like, there's no shark on that one. Wait, what? Like, because the tiles they're not super thick. They're fairly flimsy, which is not a bad thing. But depending on what side the printing is on and how they get layered together, if it's upside down or upside right, and then depending on the tile next to it, how it's oriented, like if the printing's on the top of the top tile and the bottom of the next tile, it can make the difference in how those things look close to one another very dramatically different. And it was like fun for us to realize, like, guess what? When you're looking in the ocean, sometimes you can't tell where everything is.
Wow.
There's a couple other little mechanisms involved, but that's the gist of it. It is definitely a light game. It is one that can be very frustrating if one player just happens to not be great at that depth perception. But because of that manta ray mechanism that allows you to catch up to the player in front of you, it actually kind of helps with that. So if you can successfully identify where a manta ray is, you can catch up pretty quickly. In fact, I was really, really good at this game, and I had blasted ahead of both of the people I was playing against. And then the person in second place got a manta ray, caught up to me, and then beat me in the next round. So I was a little frustrated because I was like, what the heck? I was doing so well. But it is, I think, it's probably a really good family weight game for that reason, that like technically anybody could come from behind and get a win. It's obviously got great table presence. It's really cute. And it's light and it's fun. So I like this one. I don't know if I'll be adding it to my collection. This is my friend's copy. But this is definitely one that I think would be neat to break out at a convention, especially because you're going to see like 4 people standing up over the table, peering down into this acrylic stack of tiles, and everybody walking by is going to be like, what the heck are y'all doing? So that is Dive from Sit Down.
Very, very cool. I've seen pictures, but I have not seen this one live. It's one that I would certainly like to try. David asks, how thick are the transparent pieces? Are they flexible? Are they similar to Gloom cards?
They are definitely flexible. They are thicker. Well, I've never played Gloom, so I can't compare to Gloom cards. I'm trying to think of like what thickness this would be. It's like, it's not as thin as like a transparency sheet. It's thicker than that. It's got more heft than that, but it's still relatively thin. Maybe 2 millimeters? Is that a thing? I don't know.
If you're not breaking out your set of calipers, I don't know if we can trust you.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you can ever trust me then, because I'm pretty sure I don't own calipers, so...
Well, I know, Crystal, that you are a fan of the Grand Gamers Guild Holiday Hijinks puzzle series.
This is a true fact.
This is a series of small little, what is it, like 18 cards? What does it say? It says it right in here somewhere.
It's 18.
18 card little games. They come in these little packages, and they're little mini escape rooms. About 60 minutes for a wide range of ages. They're really designed for family weight. This is the latest Cupid Crisis, which is a Valentine's themed game. Designer is Jonathan Schaefer. I think he did the other 3 as well. There's a Halloween, there's a Christmas, and there's a 4th of July, the Independence Day incident. But this is the Cupid Crisis. I'm not going to spoil anything puzzle-wise, but this one, as I said, is a Valentine's theme. The cards are, you got the little, hearts on these cards.
Oh, the conversation hearts.
Yes, indeed. All of the high points are basically the same. We've talked about this uses a web-based app. You basically scan a QR code and get sent to a web page that has a timer on it. It has a lovely hint system that gives you a nice gradient. It tells you what pieces you need for a particular puzzle. Then it leads you down the path. There's like a good 5 or 6 hints for every major puzzle, which I appreciate. It's a lot better than simply, here's the answer. I only needed a couple of nudges. I just didn't know what they were going for, but a couple of pushes in the right direction got me to say, oh, okay, now it all makes sense. I have not played the third one, the pumpkin. The pumpkin problem.
Oh, okay.
I think the
pumpkin problem.
The Halloween themed. So I don't know if this is true about that one, but the first 2, the cards were numbered basically like 1 through 18. This one, they're not. They're numbered. They start at 14 and they go all the way to like 99. So they skip all over the place. So it's less obvious how far along the path you are. It's still relatively linear, but it actually starts you with, I think, 3 different puzzles right off the bat. So you can do any one of those branching paths, and eventually you have to have done them all in order to move forward, but it's not like, do puzzle number 1, now do puzzle number 2. And that felt a little that way for the first 2. This one gives you a little bit more of a branching, which is probably good for playing with more people. I played this solo, but if you had 2 or 3, you could split up the puzzles and work with them that way. The final puzzle was... Actually, I thought that the final puzzle, or the next to the last puzzle, was the final puzzle, and I thought I was going to finish at exactly the right time, and then realized, wait, there's one more puzzle after? So I actually finished in like an hour and 8 minutes, but I almost finished at exactly an hour if there had only been one fewer puzzle. I like them. Oh, the other nice element that they continue here is that there is a sort of a common knowledge information section. With all these escape room games, they try and keep the knowledge within the game. They try not to have too much outside knowledge. There is some necessary outside knowledge in this game. There are some things that you might know. There are other things that you will likely not know just off the top of your head, but there's basically a library of some common knowledge stuff. That looking at lists of, let's see, there's like famous love stories. There's a list of those. There's a Morse code list just in case a puzzle is going to require that. And so you can, if you get stuck, look at that library and say, is any of this information going to help me? It's kind of nice to have that information readily available for folks that might not just know it right off the bat.
Yeah, I think for the Independence incident, like they had a list of like the presidents and vice presidents of America, yes, because it's an American themed game. And obviously if you wanted to play it and you weren't American, you definitely need some help there.
Yes. Again, I think this is appealing to a wide range of ages. I think it's designed to be played with families. Some puzzles I thought were pretty easy, very straightforward. I thought I was moving at a really good clip. And then there were others that just conceptually I had trouble with, which is a good mix. You feel like, aha, when you finally get through some of these, you get that aha moment. If they were all simple, I would not have enjoyed it as much. I like these a lot. This is no exception. The Cupid Crisis is another excellent one. If you can get a bundle of a bunch of them on the Grand Gamers Guild website, pick them all up. They're all an hour each. and they're totally replayable. I can just stack the cards back up in order and ready to go for the next person. So another huge thumbs up for the Cupid Crisis from Grand Gamers Guild.
Yeah, those games, like, there have been, many escape room game series that you and I have played from, and in most series thus far, which admittedly some of them have a lot of titles, there have been hits and misses. Like, even in the series I like the most, there have been some misses, but for these 4 specifically, I would recommend all of them. So, or I mean, I haven't played the Valentine's Day one yet, but based on what you say and then my knowledge of the other 3, I would, yeah, definitely.
I did get the pumpkin problem as well at PAX, and so it's on my to-do list. Next time I have an hour and I'm going, what am I going to do? I've got that ready to go.
There you go. Perfect. Well, Eric, I did not theme our game tonight around our main episode theme of music, which I'm imagining the chat will probably be happy about, because, as much as it would be lovely to do a duet with you over Skype, it doesn't work so well.
The timing never quite works. I actually tried to watch Rockapella sing the Carmen Sandiego theme over Skype or Zoom or whatever, and you could tell they're just like, this isn't going to work. And the host of whatever it was they were doing is like, let's try and sing it. And they're like, it's not going to work. And it did not go well.
I mean, at that point, you have to feed the background audio into everybody's headsets and have them mute everybody else, because otherwise you just, it doesn't work. But, so we're not doing a music themed game, but I am doing something that's, I would say, timely, or it's kind of in the pop culture lexicon right now. And lexicon is probably a good word for me to use, because, Eric, we're going to play a board game themed analog version of the Twitter sensation Wordle.
Oh boy. This will be my first time. I have avoided the Wordle phenomenon up to this point. I know of it, and your posts about it on Twitter had confused me for some time, but now I understand what's happening, at least. When somebody said it was like Lingo, the game show, then I said, oh, okay, I know what's going on.
It is exactly like Lingo. There was actually a board game back in the 60s that also did something similar, apparently. I don't remember what that one was called. So Wordle is not a brand new concept, but playing it analog on paper over the internet probably is. So what we're going to do, I have selected some board game related words, either 5 or 6 letters. I know that's breaking the Wordle 5-letter thing, but there's only so many 5-letter board game words. And what I'm going to do is you and the chat are going to be cooperating together to try and solve 4 Wordle puzzles, Eric. And we can cut that short if they're going a little bit too long.
All right.
But what I'm going to do, I'm going to move my camera. So apologies to anybody who has like motion sickness issues or anything like that. I know. We're going to come down over here.
That was far more graceful than in rehearsal, Crystal.
Yeah, I know. Now that I know where I'm going with the camera, it's not so bad. I mean, you can see a little bit of my boom arm with my microphone, but we have my high-tech Wordle grid here. And yes, somebody in the chat said, isn't it mastermind with letters? It is. Yes. It's mastermind with letters. You're just trying to guess a word, and for every letter that you guess that is both correct and in the correct spot, it'll be marked green. For every letter that is in the word but in the incorrect place, it'll be marked yellow. And I have green and yellow pens ready to mark on here. So all I'm going to tell you, Eric, is that these words are board game related. So I will say they're either words related to board games, but they could also be the titles of board games as well. So just keep that in mind. And I am going to, let's see, I'm going to pick our first word. We're going to do this one.
I'm going to bring up you as full screen. So there is the strategy here. I know that some people just, when they play this game for real, they just throw out a particular word like adieu to clear out some vowels or whatever. But I kind of want to actually start with a board game word.
I mean, for the record, you don't have to guess just board game words. You can guess any words you want to try and get there. Right. And you have a total of 6 guesses to try and get to the answer. So,
but we're starting with a 5-letter word. This is not a 6-letter word for round 1, correct?
Yes, we're doing 5 letters for this one.
Okay. DJ Dan suggests meeple, which would be great, except it's got a bunch of E's in it.
And
it's also
6 letters.
6 letters, so that's not a great thing to start with. How about board? B-O-A-R-D.
Okay, so. All right, so let me mark these for you. I don't even know if you'll be able to see that. That's not very...
So yellow is correct letter, but wrong position, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And green is right letter, also right position.
Ah, so the A is in the right place.
Oh, and then, yep, and you actually picked a really good word to start with.
And the D is
I
yellow.
might grab another marker and do something instead of yellow.
Okay.
But go ahead and think about your next guess. That's
right.
what we got. We got green A and then yellow on R and...
So the A is in the right place. Round I like as another guess, but the D is not in the right place. D-R-A-W. No, that's only a 4-letter word. Draw wouldn't work, but is there... Draft. I like that. Hornist says draft. D-R-A-F-T. Let's try it. Let's try draft.
You got D-R-A-F-T. And clearly we're going to get through 4 rounds of this, Eric, because you nailed it on the second guess.
Well, chat did that. Well done. Several people saying draft, but draft was excellent. Well done.
Awesome. Yeah, and board was a really good first word for that. So you all are clearly Wordle experts, so we got to move on to a 6-letter word this time.
Oh, boy.
So I had to make my own little addition to the Wordle grid, so it would have 6 letters instead of 5. Let me go to my word list and see what my next word is.
So, I mean, this one could be meeple, but I think I would want to start with something else as a first guess, just because that's too many E's. If we're trying to get like a good number of letters figured out.
Okay, I know. Okay, I've selected our second word from my list, Eric, and so it's all you now.
Oh,
and
boy.
The chat. And I'm going to use orange instead of yellow going forward for letters that are in the incorrect place, just so it's easier for you all to see.
How about, let's start with figure, F-I-G-U-R-E. That should get some vowels taken care of.
G-U...
Kalis, I like that one. That's gamers.
Okay.
Marvel.
And then I need...
I mean, I feel like just... Oh, all right, the E is right in it. Perfect.
And that's it.
That's it?
Okay. That's it.
Well, that tells us some things, right? That
sure does.
That tells us that there's no I and there's no U.
And for the record, there is a hard mode of Wordle where you're required to use the letters that you previously got correct. We're not playing on hard mode. So if you want to theoretically ditch letters you already know are correct just to try and suss out other letters, you're more than welcome to do that. So.
All right. Well, so that they're already throwing out meeple, which could work. Everyone's guessing meeple. Fine, chat. Let's guess meeple. M-E-E-P-L-E. We're going to find out if there are any more E's.
Okay. It's so funny. I know how to spell, but when you're doing a game like this, you'd like question yourself like a lot to see if, that's it, friends. Nothing new.
Come on. Well, we had to do it.
Yeah, I know. I honestly, it would have been really funny if I had chosen meeple as the second word, thinking that you all wouldn't guess it. So I applaud the attempt there.
So
attempt.
a question for format, Hannah said, would you have had to give us a yellow on the E, or do you only get one answer?
So if there is more than one of a single letter in the word,
Yeah.
I would give you clues for each of them. So like if this word contained more than one E, the one that's in the correct space would still be green, but I would give you some kind of indication for another E in the word. So there is no other E in this word.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I like theme. Well, there is no other E in the word, so theme doesn't work. I like battle, which Dominique has suggested. That doesn't necessarily. There's no L though, but it could at least narrow some things down. Repeats can happen, but not for this E in particular. Zombie. Ooh, I like zombie. Let's try zombie.
Zombie. Okay.
Zombie.
Zombie. We said we weren't gonna sing, but I'm doing it anyway. All right. Gonna look about the same.
Oh, come on.
Well, so for the record, this is still not a bad guess if you're trying to eliminate more like letters, vowels, whatever. But technically, you already knew there was no I in this word.
That's true. I did already know that.
But that's okay. Again, it still helps you narrow things down. So.
But that does eliminate an O. So we've eliminated additional E's. We have not eliminated an A. There's no A there, so it's probably an A unless we're doing something with a Y. Katani. Nice. Okay. Well, there's no O. There's no IOU. There's probably some A's. A's. We haven't gotten any S's. Yeah, there's got to be an A in there somewhere. See, now I'm just blanking. Assembly. What would be a good S? An S? Oh, scythe. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. SCYTHE. And marble is also good. Let's try scythe. SCYTHE.
Okay. SCYTHE. And I don't want to ruin my green marker, but it would all turn green, Eric.
That's
you got
correct.
it. It's scythe. Yep.
Well done. And several people got that one. Well done.
Figured the lack of vowels might trip you up a little bit, and I'm happy to say that it did just a bit.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's a good one.
All
Chat,
right.
You're on the ball here. I was blanking on that. So I like being the curator of everything chat says. That's yes, I will take that answer. Well done.
All right, we're going to go back to five letters.
All right. Well, someone threw out one earlier. Oh, you haven't chosen yet.
Oh, no, I have. I'm good.
Okay. Just for the heck of it, let's put out Venus. VENUS.
Oh, I should have chosen that as a word. I should have. Let's see here. So orange instead of yellow.
All right.
And that is going to be it.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, S is a good start. Let's see. Chat is still catching up to that. Oh, salad. Salad.
Oh, like point salad. Oh, gosh.
Wah!
It's fine. Everything's fine.
I'm not against that.
This is why. Look at me. I was ready for this. I brought a clip just in case the paper decided to get
on a piece of Oralex foam.
Yep.
Let's go for salad. That's going to get us some more information at the very least.
Okay.
Maybe a little heavy on the A's, but whatever.
That's okay.
Yep, some other good choices here, folks. All right, well, that's not where the S goes. Oh, we've got an A.
There is an A. Oh my gosh.
An A, not a second A, though.
Yes, only one A.
Okay, chaos? No, chaos, the S is not last, and it's not first. So it's somewhere in the middle. Sushi doesn't work. Laser, no, but the A is not in the right place. Cards, no, because the S is not at the end. What is Wordle? Coralu, it's like a Mastermind, but with words. Brass, yeah, but then you still have the S at the end. Another S and an A.
Oh shoot, I did this wrong. Hold on, sorry, I missed something. This is why. That L is also in the team.
That L is in there too.
There's an L. Surprise!
It's lasagna. No, that's not
it.
it.
It's lasagna.
Not laser though. L-I. We don't have an I yet. We don't have an O yet. Lords? No. Sass. Clash? Clash. Aside? A-S-I? No, that's not the L though. Clash. Let's try Clash. Oh boy. There's a whole bunch of... Okay, L is in the right place. That should be helpful. There's not a lot of... Oh, and the A is in the right place. And the S is in the right place. Okay. Someone said blast before. Let me just double check here. I think let's try blast. B-L-A-S-T.
Okay. B-L-A-S-T. And I'm going to tell you it's the same as the last one. The three green are in the middle. I'll draw them in here in a second.
L and A and S. Okay, let's slow down. I got a little overexcited and jumped the gun here. Let's think.
We all do that when we play Wordle too.
It's not flash or slash because H is not the last letter. So what other S? L-A-S. It's not L-A-S-T. It's not L-A. It could be. Oh, it's Clask. K-L-A-S-K.
K-L-A-S-K is correct.
Yeah, all right.
I tried to be sneaky and you got it.
That was sneaky. Yes. Malik got it just then as well. But yes, Flask could have worked as well. But yes, Clask is a good one. Woo!
All right, we'll do one more. I technically have the paper printed out to do lots more because I want it. It's just like, yeah, whatever. We'll see.
Your future shows, I guess.
Yep.
Yep. Chat is catching up with me. They're like, Clask, it's Clask, obviously.
Okay, let's see here.
Are we 5 or 6?
This is a 6-letter word.
6-letter word. Okay. All right, we're back to 6 letters. What would be a good 6-letter
And it's not meeple.
word?
I'll just tell you right now. You can guess meeple if you want, but it's not meeple.
Okay.
No.
T-O-W-E-R-S. That's not a bad first guess. Let's say towers. T-O-W-E-R-S. That's some big letters there. We can
let me see here.
Hopefully get some good information. I like those suggestions. The E. Okay.
I
correct,
think
but in
that's
the
it. Let
wrong
me
place.
make sure real quick.
That's it? That's all we get?
I think that's all you get.
Oh, boy.
I'm making sure I didn't screw anything up again, but yeah, that's all you're getting for this one.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So ticket is out because there's no T. Um, player, Player. There's no R. No worker. There's no R again. So we're definitely not doing. There's not an ET. There's not an ES. Okay. There's got to be something. Ampule? Oh, wow. Um, gaming. Let's. That's not bad. Um. Oh, it could be played. Let's try played. Played.
Here.
Schmeeple? What's. Ah, the L is in there. Okay, the L's in play. And the A and the E still in the wrong place. That's good.
Yeah, you all are gonna get this one quick, I imagine.
All right. Empire. Empire. Perhaps. Humane. I'm going to let chat catch up to the L. That L could be very useful.
I apologize that the orange marker isn't coming through real strong on camera either, but
Llamas.
hopefully y'all can see.
It's not llamas because the A was in the wrong place.
That would have been a good one.
That would have been tough. That's a lot of A's.
In Wordle in general, double letters tend to be really difficult to suss out, even in super common words, because your brain just wants to choose other letters generally.
Right. Let's see. Empire. What other vowels?
Oh, wait. Nope, I messed it up again. Hold on.
Oh, no.
I know. At least I'm realizing it before you move on each time.
Oh, the Y's in.
The Y's in. It's in the wrong place, but it's in. Y'all get at this now. Sorry, I'm bad at this. I'm managing too many things.
Okay.
I wanted to see if y'all could get it without knowing all the letters, apparently. The word is retcon.
The word is retcon. See, I'm trying to think liar's dice, but that's spelled with an I. L-Y.
Kirk, as a note, Havre was on my list of possible 5-letter words. I did not pull that one out,
Nice.
though.
I like that, Coraloo. Royale. Royale. I think that's a valid guess. Royale.
Okay.
Oh, except that we know there's no R. But that still might get us some information. We know that.
Yeah, it might. Let's see here. I'm going to make sure I do this right the first time.
Yeah, Royale is good, although it's not going to be the R. It's not going to be correct. Y, we already knew that, but I mean, it's not there. E, all right. Well, we're knocking off positions for the E, that's for sure. A is correct.
And then the L is still wrong, please.
The L is orange?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's something.
Flip it on.
Ooh.
Yeah. Y, L, and E are in the wrong place. A is in the correct spot.
I like that. Hornist. Oh, that's really good. And a bunch of people agreeing legacy. Legacy.
Legacy is correct. Eric, you
Woohoo!
all win.
That was a
Woohoo!
group victory for sure. That was really, really good, team.
Um, I know Wordle is very much kind of in the zeitgeist right now, and I figured, word games are definitely board game centric to some degree, and I thought maybe it would be fun to play Wordle cooperatively. So I hope you all enjoyed that at least a little bit. I
Yeah.
know everybody's kind of sick of seeing those grids on Twitter,
The
but
the one
yeah,
thing that I've seen recently that's come in the last few days, I think, is you can get a 3D render. So basically, when you finish doing one of these, you get like a grid of what your guesses looked like with the yellow and green squares. And there's something that will turn it into a little cityscape, like a
yeah, I've
little
seen that.
building. Which is kind of cool with the roofs and I don't know what happens when you have like a weird dangly yellow square in the middle, what that ends up looking like in this rendering. But when it
Yeah.
looks like a cityscape, it's pretty neat.
Well, okay. Well, everybody says they enjoyed it, so maybe I'll bring it back. Like I said, I actually printed out extra sheets, so I have more on hand, so I could do this again really easily. And I figured it would just be fun to do it with board game words instead of just general English words. So,
All right, well, it is
yay!
time to talk about our discussion for the evening, which is games that revolve around music. Not just themes, which there are a few of those. The game is just sort of themed around music, but also ones that actually use musical elements as mechanisms of the game. It's funny because as I mentioned before we went on the air, Crystal, there was one game that I immediately thought of when we brought up this topic. I'm like, okay, this
Okay.
is the number one game that I'm putting on this list, and then I went to find it, and apparently I traded or sold it or got rid of it a long time ago. It's a party game called Encore, where the you play in teams and you are given a word like red, and as a team you have to come up with at least 8 words of a song that has the word red in it, and then you have to sing that song as a little group. And then you've successfully done that. The other team does the same thing, and you keep going back and forth until one team can't do it within the time limit. It's sort of like a showdown spelling bee or rap battle sort of approach.
Yeah.
And for groups that like doing that, this is one of those games that it's a performance element. If you enjoy that sort of thing in your family or your game group, then it can be a blast to play this style of game. If you're not a performer and you don't enjoy, doing that, it can be torture. But it is certainly a game that it revolves totally around producing music as the core of the game.
And it's weird. I've never played Encore specifically, but I have a lot of music knowledge. I'm very like I have a lot of pop culture knowledge in general. So like at a trivia night, I'm actually really good at like music rounds, like identifying songs and things like that. But I've found that games like Encore, where they just give you a tiny bit and then you have to like pull things from your memory lyric wise, my brain doesn't like to do that and it tends to freeze up. So even though I love to perform and do stuff like that, some games like this tend to be really frustrating for me because even though I have all that knowledge in my head, like if you start the song, I can keep going with the lyrics, but like just to pull it randomly out of my head sometimes can be really difficult for me.
Yeah. The other party game that I had thought of, I just got the new edition of this, is Time's Up, which often has music titles as part of the clues. But not just that, because the meta of this game can revolve around whatever comes out of people's mouths when they're trying to get you to guess something. You can sometimes end up, especially in the later rounds where you're only allowed to say one word or even no words, humming musical phrases as part of the clue giving process. And I know some groups house rule that you can't just like hum the Harry Potter theme to get somebody to guess Harry Potter. but that is a valid way to do it, and it follows
I
the
want to
rules.
say, I think in Cranium, I want to say humming things was actually one of the like in one of the categories. I think you had to hum something. Or maybe it wasn't Cranium, like like an older, more of a mass market party game. There was definitely something that made you hum songs. I don't have a copy of it, but there was actually a game that I had growing up that I think, my parents had and it got passed down called Notability. And it came with a tiny electronic grand piano that only had, I don't know, probably 10, 12, like keys on it. And it was basically name that tune, the board game. So it would give you
Yeah.
notes to plink out and people had to identify the songs. And I actually really liked playing that one when I was little.
That sounds very familiar. I think I may have played that one. Yeah, it had like a tiny little 8-note piano or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It, like component wise, very cute.
yep. I seem to recall a Disney Trivial Pursuit variant or just some other Disney theme that had at least some questions that were Disney song related, and so you had to guess what was being played just based on those few notes. I think there was some other electronic squawk box that would spit out some music at you.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to hear your thoughts. I have some games to show off as well, but like when I so theme is important to me in the board games that I play. It's not the be all end all, but I do like interesting themes. And I'll admit any theme that has to do with music or gameplay that revolves around music, I'm instantly drawn to. Like when I was younger, I was in choir all the way through college. I was in band, marching band, or orchestra. Like I did a whole bunch of music related things my whole life. And so I love music and I love games even if it's just the theme, I tend to gravitate toward that stuff as a theme. What about for you? Like is music as a theme something that you tend to enjoy?
It's something I'm interested in, for one thing, but I know there have been some games that attempt to go for the music theme that end up being a little unsuccessful because they can get into the weeds.
Hmm.
With here's one that is successful: the Take the A chord, which is a
Look, I
Sashi
have
and
it
there you
too.
go. I
I
figured
love
you would
this
you would
one.
have this one going. This is a lovely little trick taking game with some neat twists and thematically. The major mechanism part is that you're changing keys, which sort of changes which card is the highest, and it's a cool gamey sort of mechanism that really works. One that I no longer have with me that was music themed was called 451, which was very much steeped in musical theory. 451 referred to different intervals, and it was touted as this game that was so like accurate in the way it presented this musical theory stuff and the playing of the cards, but it almost because of that became so mired it lost sight of what made a fun game. It was so concerned with being accurate in its educational mission that it sort of fell apart. So
Ah.
I feel like I've run into more music games that fail in this regard. I have not played Lord of the Chords, which I saw at Essen a few years ago, but didn't actually end up playing. And there's a Mozart game or a Beethoven game, something like that. That's like a standard Euro style where you're giving money or supporting composers in some way, and I haven't played that one either.
Okay. Well, so we were talking about Take the A Chord, which is a trick-taking game, and apparently music themes in trick-taking games, it does not end at Take the A Chord because I also own a copy of Musical Chairs.
Ah,
Kelly North Adams designed a trick-taking game where you have this neat board in the middle of the table that has instruments on it and different seating, and you're literally trying to play a game of musical chairs through a trick taking game and end up in the right place at the end of the round. This one is a sleeper that I think not enough people know about. I really like this one quite a bit. So if you like trick taking games, this is one that I would say is a good one to seek out.
hmm.
But then, like, I think publishers have kind of latched on to music as a theme lately. We've had some pretty interesting games come out the past few years that have music related themes. I didn't actually pull Drop Mix off my shelf. I've shown it off here on the show before,
Yep.
but many of you have probably heard of it. It's got the cards that can be read by this big electronic device, and you're literally essentially a DJ mixing music live, real time, and it's being played out from your phone as you put cards down onto the table, and it can be played cooperatively, competitively, solo. Super fun. I really like Drop Mix quite a bit. But making music isn't the end either, because what if you got a band and you want to go on tour?
Yep.
Roll and writes, getting into the mix with the music theme. Technically, this one is kind of a little more abstracted because, the music isn't really as present in this one, but you're taking your band on a tour across the United States, or I think there's another map that you can buy that's elsewhere in the world. This is a fun little roll and write game. It can be really frustrating and punishing depending on how you place your numbers on the board, but it's a fun one, and it can be played technically with an unlimited number of people if you have the right number of boards for people. So that one's neat.
You mentioned musical chairs, which has the theme of music playing, and when it's done, you are done with that particular round, and that reminds me of games that use music as some sort of timer. There was a pair of games. One was called Space Dealer, and then Time and Space, which had a 30-minute musical soundtrack that was the theme of the game, and you took all of your actions in real time, and the music would sort of increase in intensity as the game continued and worked up to its conclusion. There are shorter versions of that. This one's always a hit. Meeple Circus.
Oh yeah.
Has its its production rounds have a musical soundtrack, some of which the sound effects or crescendos in the music, cymbal crashes can also be important for certain gameplay elements. So you are not only reacting to the music or being pushed along by the music as a timer, but also reacting to elements of the music, applause and sound effects and stuff, as you put your meeples together and try and build pyramids out of them. Music plays a really big part in Meeple Circus. And the other is, let me dig it out.
I love Meeple Circus. I had wanted to play it for years, and I finally did a couple of years ago, and gosh, is it fun.
It hit in our family game day over the Christmas break. But Escape the Curse of the Temple, which is a little less musical. It's more sound effects and stuff, but at some point when the big gong goes off, you get quite the drum solo going on as you're trying to rush back to the entrance. So you're very much responding to the soundtrack and the music in Escape as well.
Absolutely. And then sometimes you get surprised by a game that actually has music, like actual music in the box. And that box happens to be real tiny. Hey Yo from Oink Games has this lovely little device that plays music while you're playing. And I'm talking while it's going because my audio thing will probably edit it out otherwise. But this is neat because that whistle sound that happens on every measure is when you have to play cards in this game. You leave this running, and then you play a card on the whistle, and then the next player has up until the next whistle, the next measure, to put their card down, and it has to be played exactly on the beat. You're creating a beat line of music in this game with the cards. And if you are off at all, you have to flip cards over, which is bad for scoring at the end of the round. This one is super fun and easy to teach. So if you like real-time play and you like Oink Games, that's one to definitely check out.
I was trying to think of a few of those rhythm games where you've got some sort of beat that drives the game. I think Bunny Bunny Moose Moose.
Oh my gosh.
Is a game that does that. I have never played it, but I know there's a chanting aspect to it.
Yes. There's like a poem that you read in rhythm, and you have to remember whether you do the moose and the moose's antlers are up, or down, and the bunny or up or down, but like sometimes it's like moose, and it changes throughout the course. So like you're reading and things keep changing, and you got moose over here and bunny. I'm so bad at bunny bunny moose moose, but Ambi loves it, and so I played it with her and Toby after Dice Tower Con in Florida one year. Like we were at, I think, Cool Stuff Inc. and like played bunny bunny moose moose. It is great, silly fun. But it's also very frustrating because it's hard to remember what you're supposed to be doing at any given moment. But yeah, it's silly and it's great.
The last one that I had thought of is actual physical components that are basically musical instruments. And that would be this one here. Let's see if you can hear it.
Igloo Pop!
Igloo Pop, which basically has these... Let me pull one out. The game is about determining how many beads are in these plastic things.
You mean how many Eskimo children are in each igloo? It's you're a giant like polar bear or something?
Frozen fish sticks, I think, can also be. It depends on which version you've got, but yes.
Oh, in one of them, it's definitely Eskimo children, and you're some giant shaking these igloos, trying to figure out how many Eskimo children are in it.
I think, yeah, he's looking for frozen fish sticks. I'm reading the flavor text.
The version now I had was a little creepier.
And then after he shakes them, when he gets home, there are no fish sticks in the igloo. Instead, wild and laughing Eskimo children tumble out of the igloo. Excitedly, they shout, "Shake us again! That was great fun. This is super."
So it is children. Okay,
anyway,
I was right. I'm pretty sure it's children.
They're basically egg shakers, and you're trying to guess how many beads are in there based totally on the sound.
And it's funny because like you'll think you're like, oh, there's only like 3 in here, and then you'll grab it for that reason, and then there'll be like 6 in there, and you're like, how?
Exactly.
Well, I have one last game as well, and I could not do a musical themed episode without bringing out Rap Gods. Yes. Obviously.
I thought you'd talk about this one.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have beef with your friends, this is the game to do it in. You are literally trying to build up your rap career, and it is a really cool game. The artwork is spectacular. If y'all haven't seen this before, I don't know, the back of the box probably won't do it justice, but it's really, really fun. You're increasing a whole bunch of different stats. It's a Euro style game about being a rap god, and I don't know, I just like cool themes and games, so this one really appealed to me.
Very cool. I have yet to try that one. I'd love to try it at some point. A few games going by in the chat. Vinyl is one that went by that I also have not had a chance to play, but I think has a bunch of expansions with different genres of music and stuff. That sounds like an interesting one. Opera may have been the one, the Euro game I was thinking of, where you're supporting various composers in some way.
Yeah, that could have been it. Hannah says rapping is not my gift. I will say that I'm not going to do it right now at all. I'm not doing it here for the episode, but Eric has heard me rap before.
Ooh.
At karaoke.
Yes, I have. I've heard you do many things at karaoke, which is always a blast and surprising. I am always delighted to be surprised by Crystal's karaoke stylings. Speaking of rapping, there is from the Flip the Table catalog the Vanilla Ice Rap Battles game.
Oh yeah.
Which has like a beatbox microphone thing. I don't know much else beyond that, but I know it's a thing where you have to rap battle.
Yeah, I've never played it. We witnessed other people with it during the tournament of Cheesampions at PAX.
Yes.
But I've never sat down and played it myself. One of these days I'll have to do that.
And we should mention that it's always fun to pair a particular soundtrack with whatever game you happen to be playing. Film soundtracks are often good to set the mood when you're playing something, or to play quiet music when you're doing something calm and thinky, or intense music when you're doing like a quick speed game or something like that. And picking the right accompaniment can be a beneficial aspect to your game night.
Absolutely. And I really enjoy when board games have a companion app. I often enjoy the background music that they provide. Once in a while, there will be one where the music is kind of a little bit too obtrusive and I'll end up wanting to mute the music. But a recent example where that wasn't the case, Eric, I finally played Dark Tower. I played through the first scenario and we won just barely. Like, it skin of our teeth kind of a win, which is exactly what you want out of a cooperative game. But I really, truly, the reason I'm bringing it up is because the sound effects and music that come through in the app at different points really do add to the experience quite a bit. And other app assisted games have done that too. But gosh, man, Dark Tower is just what I wanted it to be, Eric. I'm so excited to play it more.
Quick tangent while we're on the subject of Dark Tower. One of the criticisms I mentioned was that the battery drain was rather heavy on it, and they've actually gone and said, yeah, we're aware that the battery level indicator is a little wonky, so it might not be as much a battery drain issue as it is the little meter in the corner isn't really responding properly, and so they've actually disabled it in the latest version of the app. So you actually should be able to get more plays out of the set of batteries than I was originally thinking, watching those numbers tick down. So that's good.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, I've now ordered rechargeable batteries, not because I think it's going to drain them too quickly, but just because I think I'm going to be playing this game a lot. And so by sheer, I'm just going to, eventually I'll run out of batteries anyway. So I figured get some rechargeables, save the planet a little bit.
I've got the rechargeable thing sitting over there. I just need to plug it in and actually start the process of charging sets, just so they're ready to go.
Nice. All right. Well, if you all know of any other, somebody mentioned in the chat, no love for Kenny G keeping it sexy.
We did mention it earlier.
Before we started the stream, I told Eric that game is currently in my garage with the games to sell or trade, and not because it's bad. I actually really enjoy Kenny G keeping it sexy, but it's a little too light of a game for what I wanted out of it, and it's not something that appeals to the rest of my game group. Yeah. So if I don't have anybody to play it with, but it's a very funny game, and it's a really good light family weight co-op. So if you want to teach your kids who Kenny G is.
Yes, I have to give, I'm sure Kenny G had some say, or at least a thumbs up in the presentation of this game, and I got to give him credit for allowing the theme to move forward. It is a very tongue-in-cheek presentation of what Kenny G's life is supposed to be, and yeah. The crises that he's dealing with are so ridiculous that it's a blast just to give that a whirl when you have a chance to play it.
Absolutely, it deserves some love for sure. But yeah, if y'all know of any other music games, drop them in the chat. And if you have any questions for Eric or myself, you can drop those in the chat too. We'll hang out for a few more minutes here. And we're happy to answer any questions you may have. I do have to say, Eric, before anybody asks, although I don't know if anyone will ask about this, did you see the thing that I retweeted about the upcoming schedule of Star Trek episode releases this year?
I saw a news item. I don't think I saw your reaction to it.
There's like this giant grid that somebody tweeted out of like when Star Trek episodes are releasing in 2022 and 2023.
Okay.
This year, there's a new episode of Star Trek almost every single week of the year.
Wow.
Like Strange New Worlds and Picard, the next season, are starting this spring. Right now is Prodigy. Discovery's coming back in February. Like, my mind is blown at how much Star Trek I'm getting this year, and it makes me so happy.
It's just amazing that there is so much Trek. Can you ever have imagined that you'd have this much in-universe canon Star Trek to consume?
5 active shows. Like, what? How?
That's so intense.
And I will say, truly, No, go ahead, Eric.
Speaking of Prodigy, which I'm still consuming. I think I'm still no. I think I'm caught up on episodes. I'm still reserving my judgment on the entire season. I want to see how it sort of plays out. I was reserved a little bit because I don't know if I like the main character as much. I think I need to see him redeemed a little. This is, the Nickelodeon co-production, and it's a kid show where you've got kids basically flying a starship, and kids do kid things and make terrible decisions, and non-Starfleet, it's like I'm very much with hologram Janeway on my reaction to these characters sometimes. Like, you are being idiots, but kids are like that sometimes. But the music, the theme, I really like, and I have spent many an evening, like, I have to go to sleep, get the Prodigy theme out of my head, stop humming it, I need to sleep. So I've really enjoyed the Michael Giacchino theme for Prodigy.
Yeah, I don't know what I expected out of Prodigy, it being a kids show, but I'm obviously when they created this, they knew that Trek fans were also going to be watching because it is Trek. And I think they've done a really good job of making a show that is approachable for kids, but also enjoyable for adults.
It's got lore. It's got actual, like, overarching plot stakes. We're finding out things about characters that were from the previous series, which is pretty cool, to have that be an actual element to watching this show.
Absolutely. It's pretty cool. I'm excited to see more of it for sure.
Liz asks, what part of Dice Tower West are you most excited about?
Ooh. I mean, I think it'll be similar for PAX to me. It'll be the people, getting to see all the friends and all the faces and all the lovely humans again. Like that's probably going to be the best part for me. We don't really have all of the like events and panels and things scheduled out yet for West. But I imagine there might be some fun shenanigans that happen in that regard too. The top 5 we did at Dice Tower West 2 years ago was quite fun. Yes. And I would love, something like that again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a live show. Whatever it may be. It won't be a podcast record because we will be past the podcast at that point. But it will probably be a top 10 or a top 5 or some other, group adventure that should be I miss that interaction with an audience of the live shows, and so I'm really looking forward to that. Also, my brother, I think, has purchased his tickets, so I should get to see him on the West Coast, which I don't often get to do.
That's exciting. Well, hopefully, because online ticket sales did end this past Saturday, but we are going to be selling tickets at the door as well. So people who didn't get their badges yet, they'll have to pay a little bit extra, but they'll be able to get badges at the door. Nikki says, Crystal, did you rearrange your room or is the camera angle just making me think you did? Nope, I rearranged things. I'm in a different spot, and my camera is at a different angle, and I should actually show them, Eric, the thing I showed you before we went live.
Oh, yeah.
I've hung some new stuff up on the wall, including a very cool gift that one of my buddies from college made for me. He did a little cross stitch version or needlepoint. I'm not knowledgeable about these things, but it's thread in fabric, and it's my little dice buddy. So yeah, I think that was a pretty cool gift, and I've now found a place on the wall for it right behind me. So
yeah, I don't think that's cross stitch. I think cross stitch is the little X's. That's some other yarn threading, flossing or something.
Yeah, it's definitely something else that I should know the name of, but don't. But he did the little dice puppos and everything. I love it.
That is adorable. Well done. Coralu asks, do you ever name your meeples while playing? Like, I'm sending Joe up the technology track. I don't, except we mentioned Meeple Circus. One of the cards, because there's 2 basic rounds where everyone plays simultaneously, and then there's the performance round, the final round, that usually has some sort of performance task that you need to do in order to score a certain amount of points. And one of the things I had to do was name every meeple that came on the board as I entered them. So now entering the ring, I've got Sally and Josephine. And it was hard to keep coming up with names every time I brought in an animal or a person. You know, you got the time going, the music's going, you're trying to move your stuff around and come up with names. It was hard. So that's the only time I really name the meeples.
Yeah, it sounds like something I would do, but I don't think I ever have. So yeah, I've never done that, but now maybe I will. And Coralu, I think you are correct. It's embroidery.
Yes.
And in fact, I think my buddy Trey, who did this for me, I think his Instagram account is actually embroidery, like, because he's, you know, it's not typical for a guy to do embroidery. So I think it's embroidery or something. Like,
Gotcha.
It's a cute, funny Instagram handle for his stuff. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's gonna do it for our questions.
Yeah, it looks like that's about it. It's gonna be February for our next episode.
Is it really? Oh, we're far enough forward that it's gonna be February.
Yeah, we'll be about a month away from Dice Tower West on our next episode.
Yes.
We'll be about a month out at that point.
And there will be a cruise in the middle there too. And I need to figure out we'll talk after this and figure out if
okay.
I think we might end up having a cruise in the way of an episode coming up in February. So we'll figure something out. We'll move around.
I can either find a co-host if I need to, or we can move episodes. We'll do it. We'll as always, y'all, whatever we end up doing, we'll announce that in advance and then we'll post on social media. But we definitely appreciate those of you who see our tweets about the show and retweet them, or post about the show afterward. If if you think people would really enjoy the show, please share it with them. We really do appreciate it. And we've created a lovely little community here, and we'd love to bring more people into the fold. So additionally, if you could, and you haven't already, if you could click the little thumbs up button below the video on YouTube, that also helps get this video in front of people who like the same types of content that you do, and it makes us feel happy. So really, that's the reason to do it. We really do appreciate when you all, support us in any way that you can, even if that is just with clicking a little thumbs up. But we will return in 2 weeks on February 2nd. That is Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. So until then, I'm Crystal Dax.
I'm Eric Summerer.
And you've been watching Dice Tower Tonight.
Thank you for watching. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. Crystal and I will see you in 2 weeks for a new adventure. Our show is supported by viewers like you. Thank you. Dice Tower Tonight is produced by Crystal and me with assistance from Tom Vassell, Mike DeLisio, Roy Canada, Chris Yee, and Rob Searing. Our unenthusiastic female deer brought to you by Meh-Do. Timothy Pinkham composed our theme, and hosting is provided by GameNerds.com. Give us your feedback on the Dice Tower Guild at Board Game Geek on Facebook or Twitter, or by emailing us at crystal@dicetower.com or eric@dicetower.com. You can hear more from Crystal on the Board Game Blitz podcast, and I can be found for a little bit longer giving Tom a hard time on the Dice Tower. For those shows and more, find those shows and more at dicetowernetwork.com. Until next time, from all of us at the Dice Tower, have fun
gaming.
Good night,
Bye, everyone.
everybody.
Have an awesome week.
Indeed.
Stay safe and healthy.
Yay!